Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Tea. I am your host, the amazing Tei Street. So, tonight I'm going to begin. Let me first show off my coffee mug. Do you see it? It says the amazing Tei Street, and the other side has me and my book and some other things. So, this is a cup that was given to me as a gift. Most people who know that I collect coffee mugs. I love coffee. I drink coffee all day long, all the time. And so I'm really super excited to have the opportunity to be here tonight to talk about a topic that's really super special to me. And nope, don't have a guest tonight. And you know what? I wasn't going to risk it tonight. Last week I played some music, which landed me in Facebook jail. Y'all know how Facebook gets with different artists. Some artists want you to play their stuff, some artists don't. So I didn't want to take the risk tonight. So I got blocked last week on Facebook Live. I was only able to go YouTube Live. So tonight, I'm not used to starting without some music, but tonight I thought I would start with some quotes. My topic tonight is all about practicing excellence as a way of life. Now, I'm going to ruffle a few feathers tonight, and I hope that you will know that it's meant so that we all get better and grow stronger and become who we are meant to become. So, tonight I thought I would start off with some quotes about excellence. I love quotes. For people who don't know, I'm the quote queen. I love quotes. I use quotes all the time. In the middle of my speaking, I throw out quotes, and kids are always like, "How do you remember all that stuff?" And I say to them that if it's something I really, really like, I commit it to memory. But I don't just commit it to the memory in my mind. I commit it to the memory that's in my soul. And so it's easy for me to remember good quotes. And so one of the quotes that I love is one by Pat Riley. Most people know that I'm a sports fanatic. And so basketball coach Pat Riley said that excellence is the gradual result of always striving to do better. It is the gradual result of always striving to do better. One of the things that I love is Robert Townsend, the actor and producer. He said excellence and size are fundamentally incompatible. When I started going through all the things in my life that I've ever learned about excellence, the difference between being good and great and excellence, one of the things that I always talk about is I am a true believer that excellence, that mediocrity is the enemy of excellence, and that it drains us of capacity for excellence. When we spend all of our energy practicing mediocrity, we don't have the energy to really achieve excellence. My mother used to always say it takes just as much time and energy to do it right and to do it well as it does to do it wrong and poorly. And so basically, you've exasperated all this energy over here when you could have used the same amount of energy to be excellent. I remember when I was working with a group, and they were doing some things around students, and they said, "Oh, T, it's no big deal. We can always just let the kids sleep on the floor." Because I was trying to find either a hotel or a camp that had cabins. They said, "We can let the kids sleep on the floor." And I said to them, and they said, "We've always done that in the past." I said, "Oh, I don't operate like that. We cannot give our young people a whole, literally a whole diet of mediocrity and expect them then to have an appreciation for what excellence tastes like." Basically, we feed our kids mediocrity and then are mad when they don't even know what excellence looks like or should feel like or can be like. And so one of the things that I really am bent on is making sure that we raise another generation that understands the efficacy or the importance of the efficacy of excellence over mediocrity. When my son was younger, I used to drop him off at school, and he was one of three African American boys at the school. And yep, one of three African American boys in the whole school. And when I would drop him off in the morning, I always had to remind him who he was. And I would say to him, "Son, tell me why you will practice personal excellence today." This was elementary school. And his response to me had to be, "Because mediocrity is a luxury that Black boys cannot afford. I would humbly submit that mediocrity is a luxury that none of us can afford. If we want a life that we love, we've got to figure out how to get that life that we love. So tonight, I thought I would delve into some of the strategies that I've used as I pursue excellence. Do I always get it right? No. But I go down swinging for excellence. You will never see me swing for mediocrity and think that that's enough. Because even if I fail and I don't accomplish all that I was shooting for, I am still further ahead than those people who were practicing mediocrity from the start. Now, I'm going to tell you this. The moment you start practicing excellence as a way of life, you will ruffle some feathers. And here's why. It's something about you thinking that excellence is important that makes people uncomfortable who are comfortable in mediocrity. I humbly submit that they get comfortable in that, and your excellence makes them feel some type of way. And I keep telling them, I'm not telling you who you have to be. I'm simply telling you who I choose to be each and every day. For one, I'm a Christian, and I believe that when we walk out all of what we're supposed to do with excellence, because if we say we serve a God of excellence, y'all know people get up in church on Sunday, how excellent. So you mean to tell me that we serve a God of excellence, but he created all of his creatures to be mediocre? Really? Where they do that at? Even if we're not talking spiritually, even if we're just talking practically, when you have an opportunity to hire someone and they come in and they say, well, I just kind of go along to get along. And then you get somebody who comes in and is like, I work 110%. I always give my best to everything that I do. And here's the results of my excellence. Who you hiring? Let's do real talk, y'all. Who you hiring? We don't even have to go spiritual. We can go practical and every day to say, who are you hiring? Am I going to hire a person who practices mediocrity as a way of life? No, because they're going to bring that spirit into my workplace. And the next thing you know, everybody in my circle is also suddenly going to, because it's contagious, are going to suddenly be content to practice mediocrity. And I'm saying to you that mediocrity is a luxury that none of us can afford. So we should all be practicing personal excellence. Now, y'all know I like strategies. I don't want to be philosophical about excellence without giving you some strategies. So people say, T, a few weeks ago, and I shared this with a friend of mine not too long ago, a few weeks ago, someone had a real good conversation with me. And I appreciated the conversation. And I did ask her. I called her this week and I said, hey, I want to share our story. I'm never going to mention your name, but I want to share what we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Is it okay with you if I share that? Because I think that it helps people to understand where folks are coming from as relates to this issue of, because one of the points I'm going to talk about is self-confidence, as it relates to this notion of excellence. She said, I don't really know you, T. And I acknowledge that we don't really know each other. She said, but I guess I've always been just a little bothered. And I was shocked. I was like, because I don't know this woman. I was like, what bothers you? She said, well, I'm bothered because it bothers me that you use the amazing Tei Street. I said, why does that bother you? That's just my brand. Why does my brand bother you? That someone would call themselves amazing bothers me. I don't know why. I said, I do. She said, why? I said, because something inside of you doesn't believe that you're amazing too. And I said, I always tell people there's nothing amazing in me that's not in each and every one of us, because we were all born to manifest the glory of God. And he says that we are wonderfully made. I'm magnificently and wonderfully made, and so are you. Amazing isn't limited to me. It just happens to be my brand. And if you really ever heard me speak, you would understand the story comes from a story from 5 years old that was in my head. But why should I have to explain to someone my mantra and my brand of I'm amazing? But something about people who practice excellence really bothers people who don't. And I'm going to say to you, my goal in life is not to put those people down. My goal in life is to elevate those people so that they feel good about themselves too, and that they think that they are worthy of excellence as well. I'm not the only person. And I'll tell you, I've not always had high self-esteem. When you're 5 feet tall and voluptuous, and you're overdeveloped in some places up here, and you have no butt as a Black woman back there, it's hard to walk around and have high self-esteem. I just happen to, but I've not always had it. And so people helped to build mine. So I tried to build this woman's self-esteem, and I started to talk to her about what I see in her. And I said to her, but you will never walk in excellence as long as you had this belief about yourself and who you are. You are absolutely amazing already. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to do anything. You are already amazing. And it's okay to walk in that amazing. And that's the hard part. People get stuck and they are scared to walk in the amazing that is in them. And I'm saying to you, our job is to polish each other's crowns as human beings. Our job is to reflect the mirror so that people see the things that are great about them, but also the things wherein they need growth. When people turn the mirror on me, one time I said to someone, I said, T, what made you lose weight? I said, a lot of times people will look in the mirror and not like the image that they see. When I looked in the mirror and I didn't like the image that I saw, I didn't change the mirror. I changed the image. Okay. So let's get down to the tactics of how you can practice excellence as a way of life. First of all, you have to have a strong desire for excellence. You got to want it. You've got to want to be excellent. If you want to be mediocre, that's what you will produce. If you want to be excellent, you will produce excellence. But you have to have some passion for it. Because when you have passion for excellence, you always bring it to the table. If you don't have passion around being excellent, you will always come to every venture half-hearted, and you won't ever produce what you could with a half heart. If you want yourself and the things that you touch to be excellent, you got to bring your whole heart. One of the things I try to do when I step onto the stage with women, with kids, is I try to bring my whole heart. My passion for who these people are is, it just radiates out of me because I believe it to my soul that every single person under the sound of my voice is absolutely positively already amazing. I just get to be the human Windex that cleans their lenses so that they can see how amazing they already are. That's all. So I come to the table believing in the greatness of the people that are before me. And that's why people are like, oh my God, I so believe you, because you should, because what I'm saying to you from the stage or from the auditorium or from the gym floor, wherever I'm speaking from, what I'm saying to you is from the bottom of my heart, because I bring passion to it. And that's why when I'm on a stage or whether I'm putting together a campaign, it's always a campaign of excellence. I'm excited because next week I'm going to be in one of my favorite places. I'm going to Reno, Nevada. Reno is not my favorite place. It's not the city. I'm going to the CATA convention, and it's where I feel renewed and rejuvenated. I go there to get restored. I go there to be with my friends. I go there to have a good time, to stand in my booth that I hate, to stand in my booth, to decorate it. So all for the last 2 weeks, I've been coming up with what my exhibition booth is going to have that meets the theme, because I can't half do it, because I don't half do anything, because I had a mother who told me that it took as much energy to do something halfway as it did to do something the full way, to do something right as it did to do something wrong. And so I've been, oh my goodness, this is the shirt that I'm premiering out there because I'm amazing. Y'all like it? If you all remember Unique, Naturally Made, donated some stuff a few weeks ago. She did this shirt for me because I'm amazing. So all that whole weekend, every shirt I have on will be because I'm amazing. She branded me, y'all. But then they have this thing called Cata Tours. I practice excellence by making sure that everything that I'm doing that week is affixed to the theme of the conference. That's how you practice excellence. You have to have a strong desire for it. You got to want it. I want excellence. I never want to walk off the stage and feel like I left anything. I leave everything I have on the stage. I don't want to walk off and say, man, I should have said this. I wish I had said that. I leave everything that I have on the table, on the stage, on the gym floor, wherever I am. I leave it all because I want excellence. So the first step is you got to desire it. The second step, you have to create a firm blueprint. You don't build a house without a blueprint, because if you do, you have a pile of a hot mess. Whatever you're shooting for, you've got to have the blueprint. If your goal is to be an entrepreneur and your goal is to have, let's say, I see my friend Stephanie on here tonight. Let's say Stephanie's goal was to build a private therapy company for herself, and that's what she wanted to do. She had to set a goal. How many people can I see a week? And how many people do I want to see? And then she had to have a blueprint for how she was going to get there. And I watched her methodically do it. Now you can't get in to see her. I watched her methodically plan out how she was going to market, how she was going to do everything. She had a blueprint. Success didn't happen because she willed it. Success happened because she worked it. She had a plan. She had a blueprint. That's what's required when we talk about building and practicing excellence as a way of life. You don't just kind of throw it out there. You really have to really be intentional. People talk about intentionality. You know, I'm going to be intentional this year. My word for the year is intentional. Some of you use that word and you don't have a clue about what it means. Because if you were intentional, you wouldn't be sitting on Instagram all day. You wouldn't be hooked on TikTok unless you're making some money off of it. I visit TikTok, but I don't live there because I got a brand of my own that I'm trying to build. And so if I'm going to be on TikTok a lot, it's because I'm watching my own stuff. It's because I'm really trying to promote my own stuff because I've got a blueprint and a plan because I want to practice excellence. And so until I nail a different market, I'm not doing that. I'm going to practice this excellence piece. So the first thing you got to do is you got to have a desire for it. You have to have a blueprint. Next, you have to believe in yourself. You have to practice self-confidence. And notice I said practice it. You don't have self-confidence. That's passive. In a world that continually tells us all that we are not enough, you have to work at self-confidence. And I would love to tell you that once you get it, it stays forever. It's not luggage, y'all. It don't stay. It don't last forever. You have to continually renew the belief that you have in yourself. Now, me, I get mine from the source. That's why you can't take my joy. I posted that earlier today. You can't take my joy. And the reason I can be joyful in all circumstances, in grief and in everything else, because the source of my joy never leaves. It never changes. The source is always the same, no matter what I'm going through. But I will say to you, self-confidence in a world that tells us all that we're too big, too little, too ugly, too short, too voluptuous, your hair too long, your hair too short, your hair too curly, your hair too straight, you too white, too black, too whatever. In a world that continuously tells us that we are not enough, we have to battle daily to have self-confidence. I know people who are at the height of their careers and they still have low self-confidence. And every day they got to stand in front of mirrors. Y'all, for years, I had to practice like this. Every time I would go to a hotel, my agent had to book a hotel room that had a full-length mirror. Because I had to learn how to love myself at my base. Before I threw on cute hair, before y'all started telling me my hair was fly, my hat was fly, before you did any of those things, I had to love the core of who I was. Because I could not go out and teach kids about how to love themselves unconditionally and without apology until I could. And so I tell kids, I like to love me first thing in the morning. Yep, I like to love the natural me before I beat my face with my Mac. Before I throw anything else on, I like to love me when my twisties are flat on my head. I like to love me when my breasts are hanging down to my knees because I ain't put no harness on to lift them up. I like to love me just as I am, standing in front of the mirror in my full voluptuosity. And I look in the mirror and I tell T every day, you're amazing. Girl, you look so good. I could sop you up with a biscuit. I talk to myself in the mirror because self-confidence is important when you are working towards excellence. Because the moment you stop believing that you can be great, you won't be great. So self-confidence is important. I'm not talking about arrogance. You've heard me say this. There's a difference between arrogance and confidence. Arrogance is the overstatement of one's own self-importance, but the confidence is the accurate assessment of one's own self-worth. It is okay to know that you have worth. Not more worth than anyone else, just worth for you. So you got to believe in you. When I started to build this brand, I'll be real candid with you. My book was titled I'm the Amazing Tei Street, and it's really based on a childhood story about me wanting to be like the great Houdini. And I heard a voice in my head when I tried my first trick and almost broke my neck. I heard the voice in my head tell me that I was amazing. I was 5, and I was angry because I didn't even know what amazing meant. I wanted to be great like Houdini, the illusionist. But instead, the voice in my head said, you're amazing. And I kept hearing this voice over and over and over again. That's where it comes from. And I talk about how words are powerful. At 9, someone used a word that totally wiped out the amazing from my mind. And I went through all of adolescence not believing that I was okay, that I was enough, that I was more than enough. I hated me in adolescence, and I took it out on the world. Most importantly, I took it out on me because I did not believe in myself. The moment I started to get confidence, when I wrote the book, and most people who know me know that my brand, I wrote the book, I'm the Amazing Tei Street. Wouldn't you like to be amazing too? I wrote it to tell my stories to kids. I never intended to sell the book. That's why I don't try to make a profit. I wrote the book to accompany me as a speaker because a lot of people don't take you seriously unless you have a book. Go figure. My sayings said that's the brand, the Amazing Tei Street. Most people don't know that W. Shauna Gibbs is a brand manager, that she has created more brands around the city of Columbus than people will ever know because she does it behind the scenes for companies and organizations. She branded me the Amazing Tei Street. She said, you will not allow people to introduce you, not anyone, as Tei Street. You will not introduce yourself as Tei Street because you've got to start to believe the brand yourself. The hardest part, y'all, was introducing myself in foreign rooms as the Amazing Tei Street. I'm the Amazing Tei Street. I would start off by going, I'm Tei Street. And she'd say, excuse me? I'd be like, I'm the Amazing Tei Street. I said, I'm not making people introduce me like this. I'm not. Now, the mayor has introduced me like that. City council folks, my congresswoman, everybody introduces me as the Amazing Tei Street because it is now my brand. And now I believe the brand. I believe that brand to the core of my soul. So I told you, you got to have desire for excellence. You got to make a firm blueprint. Got to lay it all out what your plan is. You got to believe in yourself. You got to learn from the best. Yep, I said it. We're so busy thinking that we have to reinvent every wheel. Sometimes it behooves you to go and sit up under the people who do what you're trying to do. You need role models. Everyone needs a role model, whether we're talking about personally or professionally. Sometimes you are a role model, and sometimes you get to have role models, not mentors, just role models. People who do what you do. People who you say, that girl is fire. Mine was a motivational speaker named Harriet Turk. I didn't want to be like Harriet, but I wanted to be able to move audiences because Harriet was dope. And she was one of the first women speakers in the youth market that I had ever seen. They kept bringing us a diet of all these men. And so I kept saying, when do girls get to see images of themselves through motivational speakers? And so the person that I idolized long before she even knew who I was, and by the way, I tell everybody, she's the reason I got put on. She put me out there and she said, people ought to know who you are. They ought to know who you are. I'm reading some of the comments. Stephanie Stark says, I had several role models and mentors in my field before I opened my private practice. Yes. I see Tamika Alexander saying, you preaching to me. Hey, y'all, I see everybody who's waving at me. I appreciate y'all waving. I see Barb on. I see Michelle. Hey, Brian Stewart. By the way, if you're looking for a good attorney, y'all know I just believe in telling the truth and shaming the devil. If you're looking for a good attorney, Brian Stewart, BryanSteward in Columbus. His firm represented my family for something. And I'm telling you, they will not disappoint. Hey, Brandon, shouting out from the beach. I just wanted, Darlene, I see that you're on. Hey, Lamar, my cousin. Hey, Roberta. Hey, Julie Tiller. Hey, Julie, my girl. I'm glad you guys are on. Hey, Leanne. But here's what I will say to you. When you're doing all those things I've told you and you're learning from the best, if you want to be an accountant, go sit up under a good accountant. Don't go learn from somebody raggedy now. No, you know what? You can. You can learn from the folks who don't do it so well because you can learn what you don't want to do if you want to practice excellence. There's some speakers who they asked me, T, why won't you put me on? I said, because you won't work for it. You think that this is easy. Being a speaker is hard work. Do you know how much knowledge is in my head that I got to figure out a way to package it, to give to young people, then to turn around and give it differently to adult women, then to turn around and give it differently to teachers, then to turn around and give it differently in all these different settings. The work that I do is not easy, y'all, but everybody thinks that it is. And so when young people say to me or older people, T, I need you to put me on. I'm not putting you on when you won't work as hard as I do. If you want this, if you want excellence, you got to work for it. And when I'm training young people, you got to practice excellence. Some of you saw a couple of weeks ago, one of my mentees, Brandon, is on. I have been on Brandon's back forever about excellence. I was on a call today with one of my mentees. She's an adult. She's a well-respected professional. And she kept using the word, I seen it. And I stopped her. I said, I'm sorry. I'm going to polish your brand. You saw it. You're too professional to continue to say, I seen it, and no one corrects you. She's like, my bad, my bad. And every time she said it, I took her back. Not in a mean way, but so that I was polishing her crown because I want her to be excellent. Because when you step out there and you say, I'm your mentor, guess what? My brand is on you. I don't put my brand on everybody. There it is. I said it. Put in the work. I work hard. So for all of you who say, oh, T, you're such a gifted speaker, y'all don't know how much I read. You have no idea how often I practice. You have no idea how I have to sit down. And sometimes people will want 3 speeches at one conference, and I got to come up with 3 different speeches. I've got to fit the theme of every single conference I go to. Sometimes I can change some things. Sometimes I have to write whole new stuff and have to map out all new things. It's work, y'all. Excellence is work. And if it wasn't work, everyone would be excellent. There, I said it. If excellence was easy, everyone would be excellent. And we wouldn't have fields and fields of mediocrity. So you got to learn from the best. You have to work really hard. The great Vince Lombardi said, and I concur, the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. Not mine, but I wish it was. The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. All these entrepreneurs, I want to be an entrepreneur, and their business folds in the first year because they didn't want to work for it. In the entrepreneurial world, we eat what we kill. You only eat off of what you go out and do. There's no steady check that's coming. We eat what we kill. So I'm saying to you all, you have to work really, really hard. One year I had this brand on t-shirts, and one of my friends up in Canton, he said, hey T, can I use it for my summer youth program? Can I put it on the back of your t-shirt? Yeah, I liked it. And because I tell kids this all the time, I said, you cannot be. People gave us a great lie. The great American lie is that you can be whatever you want to be. In the chat, tell me, raise your hand, do something. Tell me, how many of you had somebody when you were younger say, you can be whatever you want to be? Put it in the chat. Let me see what y'all got. I'm going to keep reading some of the chat. Stephanie says, I had several role models and mentors in my field before I opened. Leanne says, put in the work. Stephanie said, excellence is work. Whoo! Yes, ma'am. My son, hey, Kenny, said I had a mentee turn into a cousin because I can't have them claiming me as a mentor when they keep making horrible choices. Y'all see that? Can you see that the apple and the tree are close? My son said, I had a mentee turn into a cousin because I can't have them claiming me as a mentor when they keep making horrible choices. And there it is. Barb says, my girl Barb, middle school Barb, says, yes, ma'am. Stephanie says, yep, she was told that you can be whatever you want to be. Stop it. Stop telling our kids that nonsense. Stop telling ourselves that nonsense. You cannot be whatever you want to be. You can be whatever you work to be. Yep, that's a quote. And if you put it out there, you better put my name on it because it's copywritten. You can't be whatever you want to be. You can be whatever you work to be. There it is, because it's really hard work to be excellent. And finally, never give up. I've been at this a long time. A long time. I didn't intend to be a speaker. People who know me know I never meant to work with kids. I intended to climb the corporate ladder, make a whole lot of money, and die rich. That was my goal in life. That was it. Make a whole lot of money and die rich. And I believe I've heard lots of folks say it. I don't even know who said it first, but if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And so that was my plan. And I was on the road to that plan in my 20s. And I'd gotten this amazing job making, y'all know when you're in your 20s and somebody pay you $77,000, you think that's a lot of money. I thought that was some money. Y'all was like, I'm balling. Got a bigger crib, got a nicer car, I'm balling. And God had a different plan for me. He sent me to a weekend retreat that changed my life. And 6 months later, I took a $55,000 pay cut to go work with kids. And when I went to go work with kids, I'll tell you, it's been hard. I never intended to be a speaker. I was always a trainer in undergrad. I did the Rape Education and Prevention program at Ohio State. I was the #1 trainer and facilitator. I just have a way with words and I'm funny. I used to be called the funny rape lady when I was at Ohio State. They were like, we don't want the ball busters, we want the funny rape lady. And so I would find nice ways and funny ways to talk about really tough subjects so that people could hear them, because sometimes it's the messenger who kills the message. And so um, there were times when I wanted to quit. I saw other people who I knew weren't working as hard as me and weren't as gifted as me, moving faster and further than me. And so I wanted to quit. I'm so glad I didn't. I'm so glad I didn't, because today I'm living the dream that I had 9, 10 years ago. I'm living that dream today because I did not quit. I wanted to. Don't quit. No matter the obstacle that you're up against, you can stop. You can be tired and you can rest, but don't quit. If you really are walking in your purpose and you really are about excellence, there is no quit in the DNA of excellence. I'm going to say it again. There is no quit in the DNA of excellence. I kept pushing and I kept pushing, knowing that God had a plan. And the plan was not about me blowing up, the plan was about me having a larger platform to be able to tell young people that they matter in a world that tells them that they don't. And I needed and I wanted a bigger platform to do it in. And I now have the platform that I used to dream about, but I would not have had it had I quit. So I want to encourage you, don't quit. And what do I mean by that? In order to become excellent, when I say don't quit, it means you've got to care more than others think is wise for you to care about whatever it is you're pursuing excellence in. You got to care more. People will be like, that's just crazy. Don't let people dissuade you from that which you know is for you. Never allow someone else's tongue to destroy your dreams, because it's not their dreams. Yep, never allow someone else's tongue. So you've got to care more than other people think is even wise for you to care. You've got to risk more than others think is prudent. I risk a lot. I travel a lot. I've made some financial investments that succeeded. I've made some that didn't. But one thing is for sure and two is for certain. You'll never learn to swim if you don't risk drowning. So you got to risk more than other people may think is prudent. You've got to dream more than others think is practical. Your head is in the clouds. It's higher than where you are. Again, you've got to dream more than other people think is practical. And finally, you've got to expect more than others think is possible. Because for me, the difference between the people who are good and the people who are great, and the people who are mediocre and the people who are excellent, is that it's about what we believe we're capable of and not what other people believe. Other people love. Love, 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 love. Wake up in the morning, just like some of us wake up in the morning chasing dreams. There are people who wake up in the morning chasing other people's dreams to destroy. Oh, T, why you talking real talk tonight? There are those of us who get up in the morning chasing our dreams. There are other people who get up in the morning and work just as hard chasing down other people's dreams to destroy. My friend, the late Dr. Lee Jones, used to say that there are three types of energy people. He said there are energy stealers, the people who come along and try to destroy your dreams. There are energy imposters. Those are the fake people who pretend they got you and don't. And then there are energizers. Which one are you? Oh, see, y'all liking that. Keep the blessing of excellence flowing. Yes, ma'am, Darlene. Keep it flowing. Darlene, you see my mug? That's who gave me my mug. Y'all see I'm using it. She also made this pillow behind my head because she got tired of had this pillow made for me. It says the Amazing Tei Street because she got tired of seeing that other pillow that was up every week on my show. And so for Christmas, she bought me all these Amazing Tei Street gifts. It's about what you believe that is capable. Yes, Stephanie. So when we are out there, she said, you can stop, but you don't quit. Leanne says, God's plan is always better than our plan. Barb said, that's the key part. Never give up. You can be whatever you work to be. I'm going to say this as we go forward in chasing excellence. And I do. I chase excellence. Those of you who have children or work with children require excellence of them and give excellence to them. Require excellence of them and give excellence to them. One of the things that used to bother me is when people would have back to school drives. And they would always say, we want to help those poor kids. And they would show up with a pack of pens and a pack of paper and maybe a set of pencils and call that school supplies. Now, I'm not saying that that's not great, that we shouldn't be grateful for anything people can do. But when you can do excellent and you give kids mediocre, you're telling them what you believe about who they are. I loved my old principal, Stephanie Bland, because when I would say to her, hey, we're going to do, we're going to do the back to school drive for our schools. We're going to do some supplies. Y'all got to tell me what you want. Stephanie said, I want everything in the backpacks. My kids need everything. I need papers, pens. And then last year she hit me with, and those graphing calculators. I need those in there too. You have not because you asked not. So when we started ordering supplies, we had folders, we had 3-ring binders, we had highlighters, we had markers, we had crayons, we had everything Stephanie asked me for because she believed that her kids at Champion Middle School deserved excellence, just like her children and her grandchildren in her family. Because what we offer children tells them who we think they are. Last night, I had the occasion to go see Nicole Hannah-Jones at The Ohio State University. She's the woman who wrote the 1619 Project while working for the New York Times and took a licking and is now a professor at Howard University, HU, the real HU. I'm a mother of a Howard grad, so what am I going to say? The real HU. She's a professor there now. But she wrote the 1619 Project, but she also did a children's book that was released in November called Born on the Water. And we had our 7th graders at Champion Middle School read the book. And then they read it in their English class. And then they created art and poetry that was inspired from the book. Whatever they wanted to create had to be inspired by the book. They drew these amazing pictures. They did pictures with African fabric on it. They did all these amazing, wonderful things. Last night, they had an opportunity to be on display, to have their work on display and them on display at The Ohio State University. They came up and there was a reception in their honor. The president of the university and the dean of the College of Education and some of the other deans were there. And our young people had an opportunity to explain their artwork, but it blew their minds when the author of the book came through and asked them to tell her about their artwork. If you go to my Facebook page, there's a picture of the young man who inspired Nicole Hannah-Jones last night, because he had painted this picture of his vision of what the white lion in her book, which was the ship, might have looked like. And she loved the picture. And so she walked over to him and she put this on her Instagram page today. She walked over to him because this young man wasn't afraid to practice excellence and he knew his worth. She said to him, I'm so inspired by this painting. I want to buy it. He said, for how much? She said, you tell me. He said, $200. She said, I ain't mad that he knows his worth. Sold. If a 7th grade kid knows his worth, why don't you? I want tonight to thank you for coming on. I want to continue to push everyone who's on this call to move beyond mediocrity. And what I said is, we plant seeds of mediocrity, we will not get harvests of excellence. We are worthy. Every person on this call is worthy of excellence. Every single one of you is worthy of excellence. Sow seeds into your own life. Because if you're sowing everybody else great seeds and you're giving yourself leftovers, how they do that? Where they do that at? You can't teach what you don't know, and you can't lead where you won't go. Because I can assure you, what you think you are planting over there as excellence can't be excellence, because you don't know what it looks like if you're not practicing it in your own life. The reason I can hold my mentees accountable for excellence is because I know what it looks like, and they get to see on a daily basis when they engage with me what excellence looks like. If you want to be excellence, have a strong desire for excellence, fix your passion so you don't bring half heart to anything. You bring your whole heart to everything. Make a firm blueprint. You can't build a house without a blueprint, because if you do, you're going to have piles of craziness. Believe in yourself. It is okay to think that there's something great inside of you. In a world that tells you that you're not enough, you have to believe that you're more than enough. Learn from the best. Go get some role models who do what you want to do or what you're trying to do. You want to be a cricket master? Go watch somebody who know how to work a cricket like nobody's business. Whatever it is you want to do, learn from the best. You got to work really hard. You cannot be what you want to be. You can be what you work to be. And finally, never give up. I will close with my anecdote about boxing. I love boxing. It's my favorite sport. Yes, I love football, but I love boxing. And I love boxing because my dad was a boxing fan when I was a kid, and I'm a daddy's girl. And so I used to watch boxing with my dad. And one time I bet him 3 weeks dishes on a boxing match. 3 weeks dishes. Y'all know when you're young, 3 weeks is a long time. My sister was away at college, so it was just me doing dishes. I said, Daddy, I bet you 3 weeks of dishes on this fight. My fighter was getting his butt kicked, y'all, all throughout the match. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be stuck. Oh my God, I'm gonna lose this bet. I'm gonna lose this bet. My dad turned to me and he said, baby girl, he calls me baby girl, never count out a fighter. Now, I'm gonna tell you, my fighter had been knocked down several times. Yep, he was knocked down. He was getting his butt kicked, shellacked. And my dad still said, you never count out a fighter. I watched him at one point. He got knocked down in the 11th round. Don't ask me how. He crawled his way back over to the ropes again, pulled himself up. I don't know what was happening, but he pulled himself up real slow. But he beat the count. So he got up. Just as he was about to go back into the fight, the bell rang. So he had a little bit of time to recoup and to get his strength and his energy. I still didn't think he was going to win. We only got one more round, y'all. We're about to go into the 12th round. He comes out. I don't know what happened. He had strength in his legs that he hadn't had the whole match, not even in the first round. All of a sudden, he's throwing punches. He's jabbing, just jabbing. Nothing serious. Don't ask me where it came from. I promise you, to this day, I still don't know how dude did this. He came with an uppercut under the chin, and he caught old dude off guard and off balance. And he knocked him out. He had a TKO. I lost my mind. But it was that day that I learned one of life's most valuable lessons. In life, as in boxing, the victory goes not to the one who is least hit, but to the one who won't quit. If you're knocked down, get back up. And if you can't get up, crawl. Because in boxing and in life, goes to the one who won't quit. Always never give up. Always fight to the end. A few battles you will lose, but the war of life and excellence, if you practice it, you will win. You guys, I'm the amazing Tei Street. Thank you all so much for coming on tonight. I'm so grateful to have you. Next week, I'm going to take a hiatus because I will be out west on a different time zone. And truthfully, I'll be setting up my booth at about the same time that I should be on here doing Coffee with Tea. But I don't want you to miss, on March 9th, I'll be back. And I'm inviting some special guests to be on my show that night. We're going to talk about sisterhood, but how we come together to serve a community in need across colors. And so you don't want to miss that night. Please come back on March 9th. But as I said, we will be taking a hiatus of Coffee with Tea next Wednesday, March 2nd, because I will be on the West Coast and I'll be setting up my booth for the exhibition hall. You guys, I'm the amazing Tei Street, but I can assure you there's absolutely, positively nothing amazing in me that's not in each and every one of you. I charge and challenge you to walk in excellence. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.